If I can explain
No,
how
we don't need you to
eligible
explain.
costs-
Thank you very much. I will go on to you, Ms. Lawrence. I'm going to ask you a set of questions. Do you know somebody named Aldlin Donnelly?
Yes, I do.
And what is your relationship with Aldlin?
She's a person that I've known in the ecosystem for about 20 years.
Would you consider them a friend?
I would.
Were you aware of her role in Alice Ecosystem Project?
I would. I was, and I declared it to the project review committee at the time that the Alice project came forward.
Did you recuse yourself in any conversations regarding the project?
I discussed it with the board, the project review committee. They determined that because the person was a subcontractor and because I have no voting role on the project review committee, that I could stay in the room for the conversation.
Did you involve yourself in the conversation?
Not that I recall.
You don't recall?
I don't usually, actually. The reason I say that is I don't usually engage.
So what would be the purpose of you being there if you're not going to engage?
I'm there to support my team as they present projects to the committee.
So you're supporting your team as they present a project
That's
for somebody that you've known for 20 years.
As I
to
said,
the
I
board.
disclosed that to the project review committee. They reviewed it.
But yet,
and
just
I followed
recently,
the conflict of interest practice.
Just recently, though, you testified that you believed recusal was a good best practice, and yet you didn't do it.
In this situation, there was deemed not to be a conflict that was of material nature by the directors who are my bosses, and so I stayed in the room.
So it's the directors who decide who is in a conflict of interest?
What they do and what we do in our process, and Ms. Yuri can provide more information if you'd like, is a declaration is made, and then, yes, the directors evaluate that declaration, perceived in this case, and make a decision on who should continue to participate in the meeting.
A declaration is not a reverse uno.
I'm sorry?
A declaration is not a reverse uno that you could put on the table and say, I declare it, therefore it doesn't exist. This was a friend of yours. And again,
and
referencing,
that is why I declared it, sir.
referencing your own organization's code of conduct, it goes into very clear descriptions
And that's
about
why
relationships.
I declared it, sir.
But you still didn't recuse yourself. And
I
so,
declared it, and I followed our process. And
but you've now, I think, acknowledged that your process had some significant gaps. I'm going to put this question to both you and Ms. Verschuren, and I apologize if I'm not pronouncing it. My Dutch is not so great. You're here, right? You're at a parliamentary ethics committee. To get to this point, there has got to be some significant gaps in governance. Would you not agree?
I think that you have a series of allegations that have been shown in 2 reports to be non-substantiated. I think there are some administrative findings that have been put forward and that we're implementing them.
So how do you think you got here?
I can always do better. We can always do better, and that's how we're
How do you
approaching the
think,
situation.
maybe I'll ask this to Mr. How do you think you got here? I'm putting the question directly to you. How did you get here? What mistakes happened? Is this a witch hunt from somebody else? Is this an axe to grind? I'm giving you the opportunity to share for the good and welfare of the committee, how your organization got into this position, which is the last position an organization like yours wants to get in. You're the chair. Ultimately, you are the corporate governance and responsible for the organization. So in your opinion, how did you get here?
The 345-page submission started with the Auditor General. And so that is something we don't have access to, but we have had 2 separate independent studies that showed that there was no wrongdoing and no misconduct, but that there were areas that we need to improve, which we're doing now. That's how we got here.
Given the nature of the testimony today, I'm going to put it to you one more time. Do you regret not recusing yourself?
We took the approach of listening to what our legal advisor told us. And there were 140 companies involved in this.
Do you feel like you got good advice in retrospect?
I took the advice from our lawyer.
And I'm giving you the opportunity to have retrospect. Now you're here. Your salary's been disclosed. The funding that your organization was it's a pre-revenue company for 4 or 5 years, funded by an organization that you're chairing, and you're receiving compensation. Do you not regret recusing yourself? You could say no if you don't.
I think I took the advice, I received the advice from legal advice, and I think that was the proper approach.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Green. Thank you, Mr. Verschuren. Final 2 5-minute rounds, one